PPTs? We are looking forward to having some more dignitaries and luminaries amongst us today in this particular session. So in a couple of minutes, we will be having them amongst us. Kindly take your seats. All right. Once again, a very warm good afternoon to all of you all present here. We have gathered here for the second plenary session of the 8th International DHARMA DHAMMA Conference 2024 on cosmology in Dharma Dhamma traditions. Let me begin this session with two lines from the great saint Adi Shankaracharya. He once had written, Shariram Swarupam Tatha va Kalatram Yashascharu Chitram Dhanam Meru Tulyam Gurorang Padme Manaschena Lagnam Tatat Kim Tatat Kim Tatat Kim Tatat Kim. One's physique may be superb, one's reputation resplendent. One might be quite renowned for his or her abilities. One's riches might be as high as the cosmological mountain of Mount Meru. Yet, if one's mind is not centered on the lotus feet of the Guru, then what? Then what? With invocations of our gurus, our seniors, and our teachers, I would now request you all to kindly welcome the guests for today's second plenary session. We at the Gujarat University are extremely privileged and honored to be hosting this gala event in collaboration with the India Foundation, and more specially so because it is the 75th year of the establishment of this great university in the heritage in this traditional and heritage of Karnavati in Gujarat. I, Anidrisha, faculty in the SISD, School of International Studies, would consider it my ultimate privilege to be welcoming all the luminaries present amongst us for this second plenary session. I would now like to call upon the stage the chair of today's session, Professor Baidyanath Labh Sir. Shri Baidyanath Labh Sir, if you're here, he is the Vice Chancellor of Sanchi University of Buddhist Indic Studies. Sir, I would like you to kindly take your seat on the dais, sir. Can we have a warm round of applause for sir? I would now like to call upon the other speakers for today's session. First up, we have Srinivasa Varakhedi ji. He is currently the Vice Chancellor of Central Sanskrit University, New Delhi, a premier and large institution of higher education in Sanskrit. We welcome you, sir. Next, we have the Venerable Lama Rinpoche Nongdub Dorji ji. He is the chair of Longchenpa Center in Bhutan. Welcome, sir. Our third speaker for this session is Madam Anna Chelnokova. She is an associate professor and the head of the Department of Indian Philology, at St. Petersburg University of Russia. We welcome you, ma'am. Next, we have Professor Wangchuk Dorji Negiji. He is the Vice Chancellor of Indian Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies, Sarnath, Varanasi. Our fifth speaker for today's session is Professor Joan Arnaud, Professor of Philosophy from the Complutense University of Madrid, Spain. We welcome you, sir. It is now time to felicitate our esteemed guest. Our chair for today's session, Dr. Vaidyanath Ji, will be felicitated by Professor Neelam Panchal, ma'am. She is the Director of School of International Studies and Diaspora, Gujarat University. Professor Srinivasa Varakedi Ji, Vice Chancellor, Central Sanskrit University, will be felicitated by Professor Dilip Charanji. He is with the Department of Philosophy, Gujarat University, sir. I would now request Mr. Amrut Bharwar Ji to kindly felicitate Venerable Lama Rinpoche. I would now like to request Professor Gaurang to kindly come up on the stage and felicitate Ms. Anna Chelnokova. I would now like to request Professor Mahesh Patel Ji to kindly welcome Professor Wangchuk Dorje Negi Ji, who has come all the way from Banaras. I would now request Professor Biswanath Jaina Ji to kindly felicitate Professor Joan Arnaud, who has joined us all the way from Spain. Sir. Thank you so much. I would now like to request the chair to take forward the proceedings from here on, sir. The floor is all yours.
Good afternoon to all the distinguished speakers sitting on the dais and off the dais. Since yesterday, we have been listening to different distinguished scholars focusing on the theme of cosmology from the Dharma and Dhamma points of views. This conference had started in 2012, and I feel happy to share with you that I was one of the co-conveners of the first Dharma conference, I and Professor Bhatt Sahab at Sanchi, and as the result of that, Sanchi University of Buddhist Indic Studies was established. We are following the same traditions. The word Dhamma, Pali version of Dharma, both terms have the same origin, root Dharma, root 3. And in Pali, we call it Dhamma. In Sanskrit, it is Dharma. Even so far as Buddhism is concerned, when Mahayana developed, the same Dharma was adopted. But anyway, this is not a question of debate and all that. The way the scholars have spoken or highlighted the theme, how we should try to understand each other, how we have to go in hand to hand with each other, and how to make this world a better place to live. So I don't want to take more time on it. But I am delighted to see the galaxy of scholars who are from different parts of the globe and who are authorities on the subject. It's my proud privilege to sit beside my very respected and dear friend, a great scholar of Sanskrit, Professor Srinivas Barkhedi ji, under whose guidance we are doing a lot of things, and who is a great source of inspiration to all of us. So I would like to invite him to deliver a lecture on the theme. Professor. I think we had time. We are a bit late. It was supposed to start at 2, but we are a bit late. And I think it will continue, it was supposed to continue for 2 hours. So 1.5, a few minutes more. And we have 5 panelists. So I think 15 to 20 will be okay. So you are authorities and you can summarize the things.
That's all.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Namasarvebhyah. I am delighted to be part of Dhamma Dharma conference for many years, and I am thankful to the organizers, India Foundation and Gujarat University. Thanks to the chair for providing an opportunity to speak in this great gathering of scholars of international repute. Let me begin with my topic. Today I am going to present an idea of cosmic consciousness, a Neo-Sankhya theory. Basically, I am trying to connect the whole idea of Sankhya theory and the Prakriti Chetana, consciousness of cosmic consciousness theory, which is presented by Lord Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, and again connecting the whole with Dhamma and Dharma idea. As all of us know, in Sankhya, the Prakriti is considered to be Jada. It is non-sentient. So that always we treat the entire Prakriti as non-sentient, and we think that it doesn't understand and we don't care for that. I think somewhere the whole process of Srishti is narrated to be understood in a formal structure. Therefore, Sankhya theory always presented Prakriti as a Jada Prakriti. Now, on the other hand, if we look at Bhagavad Gita, the whole Brahmanda is just manifestation of Brahman. It's Brahma itself. As our previous speaker argued for an idea, this is divine itself, manifestation of the divine being. On the other hand, our modern understanding of cosmology, the science of cosmic ideas, cosmic order, basically that is limited to sometimes we always try to search for the beginning. When the whole cosmic structure got initiated, we try to search for the beginning of the Srishti. And we also try to understand when it is going to end. Because our idea of time, when we are trained in certain manner, because we are trained in history always considers time as in linear form. There is a starting point, there is an end point. So we go with numbers. There should be some 0 and 1, and there should be some. So with that, always we tend to understand the whole idea with an ending and beginning and ending. As Professor Arvind Sharma ji proposed today morning, the whole cosmic order is endless. That means it is beginningless. No beginning and no end. So Anadi Ananta, this Srishti Paddhati, Srishti Krama, we should understand. And the third, today I am going to propose an idea of cosmic consciousness. I call it a Prakriti Chetana. Why I am doing this? Ultimately, we need to understand the relation between the human being and the entire cosmic structure. In order to understand, there is a relation, a dharmic relation is there. There is a dharmic relation between us. So in order to understand this, we need to consider that Prakriti has Chetana. Otherwise, I cannot deal with that. So in order to place this entire idea, some fundamental, I call it Swatasiddha ideas. One is, it is Anadi and Ananta. Creation is Anadi and Ananta. And this is Nitya. The second point is Srishti, the entire process of Srishti, creation, is not just creation. It is totally 8 different aspects, 8 different aspects are involved in this. What are those functions? Srishti, that is creation. Sthiti, Samhara, Nasha, we can understand, destruction. And Niyama, regulation. Ajnana, ignorance. Prabodha, awareness, ultimately knowledge. And Bandha, bondage. And Moksha, liberation. So the entire, this cosmic order, Srishti, is not just Srishti. It is included, the whole idea of Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Ajnana, Bandha, Moksha. Till 8 different aspects are involved in this. Therefore, these 8 functions together constitute creation. And then this is continuous. You cannot say this is the Srishti, this is the beginning of Srishti, and then Sthiti happens, then Samhara happens. No. Every moment in every particle of this world, Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Ajnana, Bandha, Moksha is happening. It is a continuous process. Every moment you will find Srishti and Samhara also. Something is destructed, something is created. If something is created, something has to be destroyed. And these are happening together. Sometimes we cannot understand that, because for us, the functions are in momentary. Every moment we find one function. Therefore, always Kriya creates the moment. Kriya creates the moment, not the moment creates the Kriya. Therefore, all these we cannot understand together. Therefore, we create 8 moments. But there are no 8 moments. In one particular time and space, everything is happening. Therefore, it is continuous and it is Nitya. And the creation should be understood with all these 7 aspects, all the 8 aspects. This is simultaneous. And no pause, no interval, no gap, and no intervention. That means there is no space and time. Intervention is not there. So it is continuous. And third point I would like to make is, if we can understand this Srishti, etc., in association with the function of our own bhutas. It's very beautifully explained in Shiva Purana. I am bringing so many references together. I am not going to the references because paucity of time. Srishti we can see in Prithvi. In the earth, we will see something is germinated, something is created. Right? Srishti, we can understand the function of Prithvi. Sthiti is function of up, jala, water. It sustains. If unless until water is poured, you cannot see that growth. And Samhara is function of Agni. If fire comes, everything is destroyed. The Samhara is function of Agni. And you can see regulation is function of Vayu. Because it regulates, it maintains. Unless and until we have Vayu, we cannot sustain our body. So, and Ajnana, Prabodha are everywhere. And lastly, Moksha, these all 5 elements, all 4 elements create Bandha also. These are all together bind us. But Akasha is the symbol of Moksha. Ultimately, Akasha is symbol of Moksha. So these Panchabhutas are to be understood, the functions of Panchabhutas can be understood in terms of Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Laya, Ajnana, Bandha, Moksha. Finally, the Srishti happens it's a twinning process. It is only a single entity cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. You can see, always our Upanishadic theory, if you understand, Nama, Rupa together created. Nama, name and form. Name and forms are created together. Without name, without form, you cannot find any Srishti. Nama, Rupa, word and the world. And Shabda and Bhuta. But these twins have a kind of Tadatmya relation. You cannot separate them. This is the beauty of this Srishti. You cannot separate them. You cannot say that this is the word and this is the world. And this is the content, this is the form, and this is the name. No. They go together. So this is how Srishti is. And destruction is just separate them. When you separate Nama and Rupa, then destruction will happen. So twinning process is Srishti, and the removal of their bondage is Samhara. You can also see in Kshetra, Kshetrajna, idea of Kshetra, and Kshetra is Sharira, and Kshetrajna is the internal soul. And Sharira and Sharira, Pindanda and Brahmanda. And together, very important aspect today morning, Swami Mitrananda informed us, Sahayajna praja srishtva. When srishti happens, then it happens with the yajna. Concept of yajna is also added. It is not social structure. It is a cosmic structure. Without the property of yajna, we cannot find our own birth. Therefore, Sahayajna, so this is the Dharma model. This is where the connection with cosmic order and with the soul, with the human being is Yajna. Yajna is the connect. This is how we can see the whole connect of the whole Dharma Chakra plus human beings and cosmic order. Another 2 points I would like to make. When we propose this Praprakriti, the word Praprakriti is used in Bhagavad Gita, and it is also named as Brahma. I just quote the Bhagavad Gita. Bhumirapo nalo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakriti rashtatha. Prakriti has 8 forms. What is that? Bhumi, Jala, Vayu, Akasha, and again 3 very special elements are added in Prakriti. That is Manas, Manah, Buddhi, Ahankara. Very interesting. When you say Ahankara and Manas, we should agree that the whole cosmic notion, the Prakriti which we understand that is Jada, also has Buddhi, Mana and Ahankara. Even our Prithvi has Ahankara. If I try to destroy it, it will react. Today we are seeing that. When we try to destroy something in the Prakriti, when we try to hold the entire, create the hole in a big mountain, it reacts. There is Ahankara. So if something is, I am hurt, then immediately I want to remove some pain. But if you take some razor and if you take some blade and hurt my finger, immediately I don't stop myself. I'll start protecting myself. The whole Prakriti has Manas, Buddhi and Ahankara. We should understand this. Therefore, Prakriti is not just Jada, but it has a special consciousness. Therefore, Krishna says, Apareyam itastanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho edham darete jagat. The whole Jiva, concept of Jiva in Sharira, the concept of Jiva in the entire Prakriti is also to be accepted. That is called cosmic consciousness. When we recognize this concept, consciousness, then we will understand this is what the Adhyatma Drishti of Hinduism. What is Adhyatma Drishti? I cannot say that this mic does not have, it is just for use. No, it is not just for, it has respect. Everything created out of this world has a respect, and we should give respect. If we treat this without any respect, it will react. So sometimes we don't feel it, but we should start working towards that. I think this dharmic idea of cosmic consciousness make us feel an adhyatma in our prakriti. Without this adhyatma bhava, we cannot function. Therefore, friends, my time is another 4 minutes. So whole creation is a cyclic. And second point, people normally try to understand, this is the chronological. Even in Purana, when we say sargascha, pratisargascha, people understand Krishtikrama as a Krishtikrama. And I think there is a Kalakrama. No. This is logical. This is not chronological. The entire Indian literature, including Puranas and including our Itihasas and Upanishads and other literature, wherever we find Srishtikrama, that Srishtikrama is not Kalakrama. It is not chronological. It should be understood logically. That means it's just logical structure. Therefore, there is a cause and effect relation without any timeline. There is no time and this happens and second, no. It is a just logical structure. Therefore, the whole creation cycle should be understood in the form of logical structure, and therefore Prakriti, the human beings are part of it. When human beings are part of it, part and parcel means it doesn't mean that, like a body, we have hands, this is one part. No. Sometimes we remove the part, then whole exists. But here in this case, I take another shabda, that is another word, which is called amsha amshi. Amsha is not part. Amsha is a segment. You cannot separate it. For example, the whole space, Akasha, has one amsha here in this hall. You cannot separate it. This will remain with the main Akasha always. You cannot cut it. Similarly, the human beings are the whole consciousness, the souls and our functions, our activities, nothing can be separated. It is not part. This is amsha. I don't have English word for that. So amsha is a very unique word which is used in our literature. So amshamshi bhava is very important than avayava bhava. So avayava can be separated, but amsha cannot be separated. Therefore, when human being is segment of the whole, he should align with himself with the whole. He cannot think that I can separate myself and act and react. That is not possible. If he starts doing that, then the whole will take care of the alignment. Therefore, whenever we try to separate ourselves, the whole will attack us and then try to take us inside. The alignment is the responsibility of the whole. Alignment is, we should also understand that alignment is responsibility of the each and individual human being also. Therefore, with this idea, I just end. The whole idea is Dharma Chakra Pravartanaya. So nice to see this chakra, right? This is Dharma Chakra. This always moves like this. Even though whether I like it or not, I have to move along with this. This is Dharma Chakra. This is Kala Chakra. The whole East has taught this to the entire world. Because if you go to the West, the idea of time is just linear. Idea of time is linear. But here, we never try to, because we don't have history. We have only stories. Only stories. Because we don't have idea of linear time. Therefore, everything is chakra for us. Time is chakra, space is round, and the whole galaxy is round, Bhugola is round, and our dharma is also in cyclic form. So in this cyclic form, it's a momentum. This always, it moves. And I should be, if I am riding a bike, I am not aligned with the riding. If I sit straight, if I don't align myself with the riding style, then I fall down. Therefore, I should be very careful while sitting in a bike. Similarly, in the entire dharmic cycle, I should be a drashta and karta and bhokta. These three aspects, if you understand, then we do dharma. Dharma is nothing but abhyudaya nishreyasa. That's like I ended with this note. Abhyudaya is not individual development. Abhyudaya is the sustainable and holistic development of the entire for common good. For common good. It is nothing for individual. Individual will not get anything out of it. If you achieve purushartha, dharma, artha, kama, it is for individual. But abhyudaya is not for individual purpose. Always in abhyudaya we lose, but we gain as a collective human being. Therefore, similarly, nishreyasa is not moksha for it is not moksha for an individual. Nishreyasa, this liberation, is achieved in common. That means if a last person of this world is liberated, then I can say nishreyasa happens. I give one example always. During Corona period, India was the first country to distribute the the vaccination, right? Why? We believe that if I take vaccine, I'm vaccinated, I'm done. No, I'm not safe. If the last person in the world is vaccinated, then I'm safe. Because liberation of corona is possible only everyone is vaccinated. Therefore, I should be always careful for the rest of the world. This is Nishayasa. This is what we learned and we teach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I call upon Venerable Lama Rinpoche ji. He is the chair, Long Chenpa Center, Bhutan. Please.
닝제 전부 저든 님이 신송님 말람 전부 맞아 백artama 전도 전부도 덤바 투지 전라 찬체. Well, as just my predecessor just spoke about the rotation of the will, the very rotation of the will actually brought me here. So I'm privileged to be in this August Hall. India Foundation, University of Gujarat, chair of the panel session, esteemed panel members, Venerable Sangha, pool of scholars, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I tried to just think of what I was going to talk about when I first heard from the India Foundation and the Gujarat University. I thought a lot. Cosmology is not a small subject. In the pool of my thought, then all the invisible scholars just popped in, and I was wondering what I should choose. And then I realized, having many scholars on the panel as well as in the hall, probably I shouldn't be talking. Hence, at one point, I was going to be silent. Yet, as the time rotates, so should I. It's so nice to be in the place where the great soul Mahatma was born. But then, unfortunately, during my school days, Gujarat, you almost failed me, because it wasn't easy to draw you on a piece of paper. But when I came here from the plain doors, I saw you are beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'm privileged. Well, as I said, it's quite a bit of a mess, a topic as it is. I did try to put some of my thoughts on my computer, so not to miss off the rumble or the thought that I have had, I'd rather sort of try to go along with what I wrote and then see if I can just come up with a straight face. So 2019, I was in the same conference in Nalanda, and the term DHARMA DHAMMA was quite confusing. For the fact that I was brought up in a place and taught in an institution where this DHARMA DHAMMA didn't make a difference. It was just two languages talking about the same thing. And I was quite a bit of a shock when I said that, Dharma is one and then Dhamma is the other. But then this time coming to this conference here, I'm confident and I'm more educated, more enlightened about the terminology, as all the scholars seem to come to the same term as what I thought it was. Thank you for enlightening me. What I chose for this? My presentation here is not a research paper. It's just from the top of my head, but sometimes in consultation with my heart. So I hope you enjoy what we call, in Tibetan we call Gutuk. On the 29th of the 12th month, we enjoy what we call the 29th porridge, which consists of almost everything that you can get your hand onto. Could be sour, sweet, salty, spicy and all. So would be my presentation. But then, however unorderly or uneven it might be, seeing a pool of scholars here, I just think that I just need to touch a topic and rest should fall in place. Thank you. Well, faith, philosophy, and science has established their own grounds for the presence of cosmos, both animate and inanimate. Big Bang, creator, and karma are few that's credited with it. What, how, when, why are the questions that gave rise to different philosophies. And these are the same questions we need to ask. Should we try to humanize ourselves as a community and globalize ourselves as a country or a nation and bring about the peace? Same questions should be answered using unbiased logic. Then only can we come into terms with Dharma Dhamma and all the thoughts that fall within that. I hope we do that. Well, I also must say that we can establish that there is a seed for everything. Nothing comes without a cause or a seed. So hence, what we see here, everything that we see and feel around us and beyond, the seeds are the same. The seeds that bear a fruit. The seed that's embedded in the fruit itself is the cause of the fruit. Hence, what we see here or feel here and beyond must and should have some seed or a cause. Well, the crux in Buddhism here is that we often say, lele jikten natsuke, literally saying, all phenomenon rises from a cause. And it can be, animate, it can be inanimate, and then it also is topped up with semchen meva nasoba, meaning beings come up with all ideas, that we can't even comprehend. So here, when we say lay in Tibetan, or as in Bhutan, the same terminology is used, and the karma that's universally known, whether it's been accepted or not, is translated as action. Without an action, there simply is no reaction. The action that we create, the action that we get involve ourselves into, is what we see today. The action could have happened eons back, but it's like an energy. Action is an energy which can change forms, but does not go to waste ever, up until it's ripened. Hence, the place we are staying in, the things that we see around, is what our action, what our reaction is. Well, let me just try to go through what I've written. Our deeds or action is the basis of the cosmos we see and experience as an individual or as a society. Different faiths have theories as how the universe is formed, its size and all. The common karma lets us be a society, see and experience things in common. This can be subdivided all the way to an individual life. So we, as the universal citizen, live in different countries, are born in different countries, by a choice that is more or less phantom, that we don't see it now, but cannot deny for the fact that we, at some point, have caused it. However, the same things that we see around us can be totally different to other beings. We have talked about water.
From Russia to Finland with his family. Following the October Revolution, Reich was cut out of USSR, and the painter did not return home. He was moving to London instead and joining the Occult Theosophical Society that pursued the same principles of world harmony that guided Rerich's life. The idea of discovering one's inner potential and finding a connection with the cosmos through art pushed Rerich and his wife Yelena to create a new philosophical teaching about which I have already briefly said, the Agni Yoga. And now I'll show you a picture which is called Agni Yoga itself. If you find that in its style it has something in common with the Japanese art, I'm sorry for this quality, this diptych is quite difficult to find. You are absolutely right. In that time he was also under the serious interest for Japan. So, the first painting depicts a beautiful woman in the early morning twilight sitting in the lotus position on a rock cave. She has two auras, one around her head, emerald in color, and the second around her entire figure, complex, multicolored. A ton of flame burns inside that second aura, and this woman is preparing to bring this fire for people. In the second picture, on a blue rock washed by the waters of a new world, this is the way how Rerich himself was writing about this picture. So this is the waters of a new world. There is a female figure holding a pink tongue of flame in her outstretched hands. And she is giving, she is ready to give, she is already giving this fire to the world. Blue rocks rise around her and the dawn of a new age is approaching. In 1923, Nikolai Rerich organized a great archaeological expedition to Central Asia, hoping to find the mysterious Shambhala. During the next years of his research in Asia, Rerich wrote two ethnographical books about the Himalayas and India. He also created more than 500 paintings that captured the beauty of the landscapes he encountered. Rerich's Shambhala, like Kitish, was a dream, a vision of untouched and magical beauty to which only a select few had access. It is impossible to find out where Rerich's Shambhala is, for the painter believed he found it, roaming in the mountains. His breathtaking landscapes prove him right. Relying on the legend of Kitish and Shambhala, he mapped his roads and recorded his experience in several books. The most famous of them is called Shambhala itself, and it is written as a dialogue between Lama and the author. So author asks the questions and Lama gives the answers. Actually, in the form, it is very traditional and also belong not to the Western, but to the Eastern tradition, like Mahabharata, like many sacred books of the East, which are written, I'm sorry to use this terminology just because of lack of time, which were written in this form. In 1935, Rerich moved to India, immersing himself to Indian folklore and created his most acclaimed paintings. Nikolai Rerich wrote that the path to Shambhala is a path of consciousness to his heart of Asia. A simple map will not bring one to Shambhala, but an open mind accompanied by a map could accomplish the task. Rerich's paintings were maps that would provide a spectator with a quick glimpse of Shambhala, a place of serene wisdom wrought in bright color and twisted forms. Here on the picture, you can see probably the most famous picture, the most famous work of art dedicated to Shambhala. So probably it is the mountain that Rerich highlighted in his painting based on the bright orange ray of sunlight. The picture has a stunning color divided into several plans. An enveloping purple haze prevails on the canvas and creates a calming effect. We see on the canvas the spiritual quest of the author, which he shares with the viewer, his way to Shambhala, an ancient culture which, according to Rerich, is a source for the spiritual development of the whole humanity. This was his understanding of this. Rerich immersed himself in the Indian social and cultural life. He became friends with Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi, and was continuing to paint his beloved mountains and the legends. Unlike other painters of his time, Rerich escaped the trap of what we call Orientalism. He never depicted the East as other. For Rerich, both East and West were simply two sides of the same coin. His fascination with Russian bogatyrs, one of them is here, but on somewhere in Himalayas, I believe. So his fascination with Russian bogatyrs equaling his interest to Indian heroes and gurus. He refused to distinguish between the two and instead sought connections. That his theosophic views pushed him to explore the limits of the spiritual in his paintings. Over 20 years, Rerich painted 2,000 Himalayan paintings, part of jaw-dropping collection of 7,000 which he left. Kulu Valley, located amidst imposing snow-capped peaks, became his home and his workplace. It was here that Nikolai Rerich died in 1947. According to his wish, his body was cremated. The title of saint or Maharishi was bestowed upon him. Between the two countries, he intimately loved. He died in India, close to the entrance of Shambhala. Now you can see his last, probably one of the last and probably the very last painting. It is called The Teacher's Order, and he wrote it in 1947. On the day of Nikolai Rerich's passing, the painting remained standing on the easel. Its first version, actually, he rewrote this picture. The first one was painted in 1927. So its first version was entitled Teacher's Decree. This canvas depicts the pre-dawn hour. The sky glows golden pink, and in the distance, the sacred peaks of Japan shine with snow. Buddha sits on a mountain's ledge with his back to the viewer. He is deep in meditation. A white eagle froze about the ruler, looking carefully at the teacher. And actually, this is the message which, in his last painting, in his last canvas, Rerich left to people, because the white bird was considered by Rerich and his family to be the messenger of Shambhala, the protected land. Thank you so much.
Now, I invite my very dear friend, Venerable Professor Wangchuk Dorji Negi, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies, Sarnath.
Nirodham, Anutpadam, Anuchedam, Ashashvatam, Anekartham, Nana Artham, Agamam, Nirgamam, Ya Pratitya Samutpadam, Prapanjo, Upshamam Shivam, Deshamasa, Sambuddhastam, Vande Vadatam Varam. Respected Chairperson of this session, Professor Labji, distinguished scholar on the dais and of the dais. And at the outset, I would like to thanks to organizers for inviting me and giving opportunity to share some of my view on cosmology and rebirth in Buddhism. Abstract. As there are countless universes according to Buddhist philosophical teaching, the emergence of this universe as per Buddhist teaching is partially similar to the Big Bang theory. Buddhist literature says that while some universes are in existence, some universes are being formed, and some universes are being disintegrated. Therefore, when one universe becomes vacant after disintegration, a new one started from with the atomic particle gathered in the space that have flown from the another universe which has been disintegrated. This process results in the gathering of the four elements such as wind, water, fire, and earth, which is turn result in the formation of new universe. After the formation of new universe, sentient being from the other universe started being reborn in that new universe. Likewise, the cycle of formation and disintegration of the universe goes on. According to Buddhist philosophical teaching, although the beginning of our consciousness cannot be explained, the beginning of this universe where we are currently living can be explained, as it started coming into being with the gathering of the atomic particles. Same is the case for other universe also. What we are come to know with this is that there were and there are countless universes and kalpas in the past, just as it is said in the 4th chapter of Abhidhamma Kosha, Ekekam Punya Shatajam Asankhe Tre Anantaja Vipashi Deepak Ratanishiki Shakyamuni Pura Sarvatara Sarvadatata Karuna Tanupurnam. Means Shakyamuni Buddha says that the attained Buddhahood as the result of accumulating the merit for the period of an entire countless Mahakalpa in the presence of 7,700 previous Buddhas. This is the first Mahakalpa period. Likewise, during the second countless Mahakalpa, Shakyamuni Buddha accumulated merit in the presence of 5,500 previous Buddha. And during the third countless Mahakalpa, Shakyamuni Buddha accumulated the merit in the presence of 3,300 previous Buddha. The meaning of the countless kalpa here is that it is the name of the certain number, a number which has 60 zeros in it. Therefore, 3 times 60 zeros have 180 zeros. Shakyamuni Buddha as the Bodhisattva, accumulating the merit in the relying on the 16,500 previous Buddha before ultimately attained Buddhahood. Through this saying of the Buddha, we come to know that there has been the countless kalpa, countless universe, countless past Buddha. This is in the brief about the cosmology of the Buddhist point of view. Now, I will explain how this universe come to being through the 5 subtopics. Buddhist view on the reality of universe, formation of universe, Mahayana view based on the Nagarjuna view, and Vajrayana view based on the Siddha and the concept of rebirth. Buddhist view on the reality of universe. Whatever that arises, if it was not there previously, then it has arisen in the present time. That which was not there in the past but has arisen in the present time, then that is definitely not going to be there in the future. A question arises then, that which is not there in the present, did it arise from nothing? If so, a son of man, woman, sky flower, unicorn, and so on should be also exist, and thereby it will be lead to the fallacy of the causelessness of the thing. If that which has arisen or appear at the present time exists previously, then even after a child is born, it will have to be born again and again. This will also lead to the fallacy of unending process. It is our own experience that we will have living and non-living things of the world is arising and ceasing in this manner, while some are of the view that there is an almighty God and who has created everything. Some believe in Prakriti or the nature. Similarly, some believe in the essence of Brahma Tattva etc. And likewise, modern science believes in the theory of Big Bang. As far as my view of concerned, there are two philosophical at work in this regard in terms of Indian tradition. One that view thing as being in continuous nature and one that view thing is in changing nature or impermanent nature. Although these two views seems to contradict each other, they are actually not contradictory because within the nature of continuity too, there is a part of changing nature, and similarly, within the changing nature too, there is a part of continuity. However, the problem arises when it is viewed that only one view is independently or absolutely correct and all other views are rejected. Such a partial view either falls under the view of all thing is permanent or under the view of nihilism. In this context, Acharya Nagarjuna has rightly said, thus in the Madhyamik Moolkarika, Sarva Drishti Prahanaya, Yasadram Deshata, Anukam Upadhayatam Namasyami Gautama. I prostrate to Gautama, who through the compassion taught the exalted Dhamma, which lead to the relinquish of all views. It is indeed so. When the person has formed a view on anything, then which person can never form a complete or impartial view. As this person is already prejudiced toward his preformed view, this is like believing that the moon is always half as a result of seeing the moon in half form on the 8th day of the lunar month, when in reality, the moon is always full and not half. Similarly, thing arises and disintegrated. Imagination of the idea of arising is impossible. In the absence of the idea of disintegration, the idea of disintegration of the things is impossible without the idea of arising. Therefore, if there is arising, then there is disintegration as well. And this indeed, the result is understanding the complete holistic nature of the thing. So thing with this characteristic of arising and disintegration are like a reflection and illusion. In this regard, it is said thus, Bodhicharya Avatara, Acharya Shantideva, Loken Bhava Drishyante, Kalpayante cha api tattvata, natu maya yatra, vivado yogi lokeyo. When ordinary people perceive phenomena, they look on them as real and not illusory. Then is the subject of debate where ordinary and yogis differ. For example, there need to be a mirror, light and pot, etc. Thing for those things to reflect in the mirror. Only then the reflection of things will appear. Otherwise, appearance of the reflection will not be possible. Precisely in the same way, we view and believe things such as pot, etc. is inherent existing, but they have actually came into being only as a result of combination of the thing like a potter, wheel, clay, water, and so on. Just as a reflection appears as a result of many cause and condition, just as a reflection is adventitious, similarly the pot, etc. things are also adventitious. Therefore, the basis of adventitious things is to be accepted as a sort of existence, but that arising and disintegration will be free from conventional characteristics. Consequently, devotion of beginning and end, the characteristic of which has been described by Acharya Nagarjuna in this way. Apar pratyam shantam prapancham prapanchitam nirvikalponam nana artham etatasya swalakshana. The same concepts have been established through the auspicious opening line of the text in which above line appear. In this way, the nature of world is neither identical to existence nor separate from the changing nature. This essence is indeed the base of cyclic existence and nirvana. Siddha Saraha has said thus in this regard, the earth, water, fire, wind, and space are nothing but the very test of co-emergence. When we think of the world, it is our direct experience that the world has two forms, matter and consciousness. Buddhism does not believe in the arising of consciousness from the matter and matter from the consciousness, as believed according to evolution theory. There is a distinct substantial cause for consciousness and matter. Detailed explanation regarding this can be found in Dharmakirti's Pramanvartik explanation of the valid cognition. However, the world, the physical world, as well as its inhabitant, is said to be a transformation of atom according to science. But according to the Buddhism, no phenomena arises heterogeneously but homogeneously. With this brief introduction of the premier cause of the universe from Buddhist perspective, I will now move on the formation of the universe according to Abhidhamma philosophy of Buddhism. The arising of the universe is through the karma, action of the beings who will use it, just as it said that Abhidhamma Kosha, karmajam log vichitriyam chetana tat kritam cha tat. The verity of the world arises from the actions. Through the karma or actions of the being somewhere else wherein the universe is being disintegrated, the atoms from there are gradually blown here and there by the wind elements, and then they get collected here. In the process of mandala of wind is found first. Gradually the water, earth, etc. are found. And it takes many kalpa after the universe is formed, being from other universe as born here, and in this manner the formation, abiding, disintegration and remaining in the empty of the universe happen. These processes of formation and disintegration happen without any beginning and end. The nature of this universe of our has been described thus in detail in the 3rd chapter of Abhidhamma Kosha by Acharya Vasubandhu in 4th century. The formation, abiding, disintegration and remaining in empty of the universe is described in the Abhidhamma Kosha, are accepted by the all three major Buddhist traditions, Theravada, Mahayana and Vajrayana. So, okay, because of time limitation, so I skip 1 minute. Okay, तब तो फिर मुश्किल हो जाएगा. Okay, maybe little bit on Mahayana view. नहीं. Okay, maybe then just I want to read my rebirth one, maybe because of the time limitation. Sorry, somewhere lost. Okay, the concept of rebirth. In order to understand the Buddhist concept of rebirth, clearly it is essential to understand the primordial nature of being, which is as said in the Buddhist Tantra to be an inseparable combination of extreme subtle energy and consciousness that has no beginning and no ending, and which is the medium of the conjunction of the consciousness from one body to another body. The very understanding of this concept proves the existence of life after death. Generally, in terms of body, there are different types of bodies, such as the gross body, like the vasana, karmic body, imprint body, such as body in the dream, the extremely subtle body during the intermediate state, the state between the life and death, which is defined as a being complete with all faculty, yet an obstacle. And then finally, the extremely subtle energy consciousness body known as a Vajra body. Vajra here has a meaning of being indestructible and inseparable, just as energy and consciousness are inseparable and indestructible with no beginning and no ending. From the teeny insect to all the species of beings, sentient beings have been taking birth in different realms from the beginningless time as a result of their karma, action and defilement. It means a pure being or Buddha does not descend from some high state or heaven. Rather, every being gets entangled in the chain of birth and death constantly in the different realms because of the combination of good and bad deeds. It can also be called a kind of incarnation. According to the Theravada Buddhist tradition, the continuity of birth and death keep on going only until one attains the state of arhata. And attachment is eliminated from the root when one attains arhathood. We are born in the samsara again and again because our attachment creates trouble at the time of death. The attachment is one body, family member, and samsara cause one to be attached to them at the time of the death. This kind of attachment compel one to be reborn in another realm. If the person look upon his body, which is full of faults, suffering as impermanent and so forth, they will be pleased to add time to death by thinking that they are transcending from suffering. Hence, they will never be attached into anything. Consequently, that attachment or craving will be pacified. The chain of birth and death will be disintegrated and one will be attained nirvana. On the other hand, the bodhisattva, according to Mahayana Buddhist tradition, despite knowing samsara as being full of suffering, take rebirth is the samsara out of kindness and compassion. It is because they cultivate compassion by thinking that the countless beings who are suffering from the misery in the samsara have previously served them as their own mother. Today, they all are experiencing immeasurable suffering and miseries on account of their ignorance, which hold on to the misconception of samsara to be permanent, which is in the reality impermanent, full of the happiness, which is actually full of the suffering, and with self, which is actually the nature of selflessness. They choose to remain in the samsara with the intention that until they have finish helping all sentient beings attain Buddhahood by showing the right path, they will not think of their own Buddhahood to attain. For that reason, the Bodhisattva make aspirational prayer in the following way. Akashasya sithita yavat yavat jagat sithita tavat maya sithite bhuyo jagat dukhani niganta. As long as the sky endures, may I remain in the samsara and accomplish sentient being welfare. Thus, out of compassion, they take rebirth in the different form and accomplish the welfare of sentient being. This can be said to be kind of reincarnation. Likewise, before attaining the enlightenment, the Buddha also pledged to help the sentient being attain Buddhahood. For this purpose, he accumulated the dual merit, Punya Sambar and Jnana Sambar, and then become a Buddha. Due to the power of their pledge, Buddha continuously benefit being by manifestation through the different emanation in the different realm. Thus, there are some general concepts of rebirth and reincarnation of the Buddhism. Thank you.
From Buddhist perspectives, there are not many papers. And I wanted to listen to you also, Ramaji, but the time is such a thing that does not stop, and it compels us to. I please, right, and I would like personally to have one copy from you. Later on, please send it to me. Now, I invite Professor Juan. Am I correct in spelling it? Professor Juan? Juan. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, please. You can spell out your name correctly.
Hola, buenas tardes. Muchas gracias a la Fundación de la India por la invitación. Muchas gracias a la Universidad de Gujarat por hospedar este magnífico evento. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks to India Foundation and University of Gujarat for hosting this magnificent event. So I'm going to talk about Indian and about Buddhist cosmologies. And the first thing I thought when I get the invitation is that there are many different Buddhist cosmologies. There are cosmology of the Mahavastu. There is a cosmology of Avatamsaka. There is a cosmology of Abhidharma Kosha Pashyam, and there is a cosmology of Buddhacharita. There are more, but those ones that I remember. Okay. There are many cosmologies, and also there is no cosmology. Because Nagarjuna, that has been quoted before, says that the best view for a Buddhist is to have no view. And a cosmology is a view. So for Nagarjuna, the best thing is have no cosmology at all. But we like to argue, we like to fight, we like conflict, as it has been said before. So we create cosmologies, and we have many cosmologies, and I'm going to talk about two cosmologies. One of Vasubandhu, great philosopher of the 5th century, who was the writer of a book called Abhidharma Kosha Karika, which is an encyclopedia of Sarvastivada and Sautrantika views. And then Vasubandhu converted to Mahayana and created this magnificent school called Vijnanavada or Yogacara. And he created this magnificent cosmology in Abhidharma Kosha Bhashyam, which means the commentary of the treasure of the Abhidharma. And I have this. This is the best translation into a Western language by a great scholar, Louis de la Vallée-Poussin, professor at Sorbonne, University of Paris. So, and the other cosmology I'm going to talk, they are interrelated. Is Buddha Gosha's in his book Visuddhimagga, which means the path of purification. And this is the best translation into Western language in English by Nyanamoli. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit. So all the thing is the relationship between mind and matter. For the Buddhist, the universe is inseparable from the mental life of the beings that inhabited it. The actions of beings with their associated mental states trace the cosmic map and the calendar. This is a very important idea for me. So for the Buddhists in general, for Vasubandhu, there are no space without beings. All the space in the universe, all the universe are beings with mental states, with action, with ways of living, and mental states. And these mental states creates different ambience, different realms of existence. So in some place of the universe, people are always partying. In some place of the universe, people are always fighting. In some place of the universe. So the universe is a map of mental states. And the destiny of the universe is not about impersonal forces like gravity, but it's about how these realms of existence, how these ambients evolve. So through a more peaceful ambient or for a more violent ambient, right? So the individual destinies are not at the mercy of the evolution of matter. The action of beings themselves creates the structure of the universe. That this idea is main, it's a very important idea. So the action of beings creates the structure of the universe. So this structure in the Abhidharma Kosha Bhashyam has 32 ways of existence. 32. We are here. Okay? So, in this universe, there are different states of mind. Okay, so we're going to talk about the different states of mind, the different dhyanas, the different wave of levels of concentration, right? And this is the idea, the central idea of the Visuddhimagga. So there are 4 dhyanas. The first one, the first dhyana, is the mind free from craving, aversion, laziness, agitation, and doubt. Okay? In that dhyana, in the first dhyana, which has its own cosmic space, which creates this cosmic space, one experiences unity, ekagrata, bliss, priti, and satisfaction, sukha, and still have a subtle mental activity. In the second dhyana, all mental activity stops, and you only experience priti, sukha, and unity. In the third dhyana, bliss has disappeared, and you have only satisfaction, sukha, could be bliss, and unity. And in the fourth dhyana, satisfaction is out, and you access to the immaterial or formless meditative states called arupa. Okay? So according to tradition, in this fourth dhyana, you can access to extraordinary powers, etc. Okay? And you can know the previous lives. But this is not important in this context. So all the universes has this vertical structure. So there is a realm of called Kamadhatu, which is a realm of this our world. We live in Kamadhatu. It's a world of desire, and over Kamadhatu there is another realm which is Rupadhatu, which is a world of subtle matter. You can see and hear, but you cannot touch and smell and taste. And over we have the immaterial, which is connected with the fourth dhyana, which is Arupya Dhatu, right? So, what happened with the cosmic pulse of the universe? Okay, the universe is like our physical universe is like expands and contracts all the time. It's like a heart. Okay, it's infinite in space. It's infinite in time. There are many universes, but all have the same structure of 3 layers, 3 levels: Kamadhatu, Rupadhatu, Arupya Dhatu, and they also have this pulse of contraction and expansion. Okay. So, I'm going to talk about the ending of the universe, but the ending of the universe is the same thing that the beginning of the universe, but I'm going to talk about the ending. So, this should be in English, it's in Spanish, but the idea is that the first is like a star. You know, the star, when a star is dying, expands and then contracts. So the first construction of the universe is by fire. You can read there, fuego means fire in Spanish. So fire burns up the first dhyana. All these forms of beings, all of these beings have to move up to stay alive, and the fire consumes until the first dhyana. Then the water consumes until the second dhyana. And all the beings has to go up. And the wind, el viento, consumes until the third dhyana. And what remains is the fourth dhyana, the immaterial dhyana. So you can ask, like, if this remains, this mental state associated with the immaterial, so how can the Buddhists say that everything is impermanent? Because this is the thing that stays when the universe ends. So Vasubandhu said, okay, there is nothing stable there. Only the minds of the Buddhas stay there, the different Buddhas. And out of the mind of the Buddhas, the universe is created. Thank you very much.
Honorable speakers are requested to come on the dais. Although we started a bit late, but we have covered the loss of time. And I'm sorry that we could not listen to all the scholars, their full papers or full presentations, but I think you have got the gist. And 10 minutes, for 10 minutes we can have discussions. Any query if you have, or any question or comments. But kindly be brief and to the point. Do you have mic, please? Give me mic. Please, please. That's it.
Hello, my question is to Professor Cholnokova. Madam, you talked about Kitish being between dream and reality. Could you please say something about whether the Kitish is conscious or unconscious? Thank you.
Yes. Well, actually, I was telling the life story and the story of the view, let's say, the personal cosmology of Nikolai Rerich. He had very special way of life and actually very special idea. According to his views, they were combined, and he also, the idea of Kitish became for him the idea of Shambhala as well. As for the Russian folklore, actually Kitish was, and in fact it was the town which in all probability was invaded by the Mongols, and then actually it does not exist anymore. Unfortunately, the history is probably like this. It looks like that it was like this, but actually the story remained about the people who didn't want to find and who were saved by the god. So, according to the legend, Kitish exists under the waters of the lake, and it will exist forever. Thank you.
I have one question. This is Professor Anurag Mishra. I have one question for Professor Varkhedi, please. Sir, this is very good theme on which this conference is organized, but I have few questions in my mind that can we find some way to integrate this topic I mean, the philosophy and the modern science specifically, which has evolved during last 125 years or so. So if we can, you see, find a middle way between science on one hand and philosophy on the other, then perhaps we can reach to certain authentic calculations and all that, authentic conclusions and all that.
Actually, to answer this, I am not a scientist, but definitely I know. Why do you say that this should be integrated? Because the area of science and area of philosophy, most of the times philosophy covers the science, but science has limitations. Therefore, the findings of the science as of now, as today, may not be covering all the ideas of philosophy. And science can get insights from the philosophy. And philosophy can gain the justification from the science. This is how we can see. But both are independent, both can investigate the ideas independently. And we need not unnecessarily bring them together. If wherever necessary, scientists or philosophers can sit together, understand each other. That's all I feel.
Thank you. My small question to Professor Varkhedi ji. Whole tradition speaks Prakriti is Jada. It's okay. I'm not going to ask question. But new question is there about the karma also. Karma tat jadam. It is always they say. Could you explain karma should also is conscious thing?
Yeah. So as I'm proposing this idea, and definitely karma also should have, because karma is not just an action. It leaves some traces. The traces in the psychological traces and impressions upon the entire universe. The whole universe is running based on the traces of memory traces, basically action and result. And these traces also have the consciousness. Otherwise, how do they really occur when something is happening, suddenly something reaction? It is not just mechanical. There is some feeling that someone consciously ignites the memory traces and it result into the time. Therefore, I believe that there are karma devatas.
Thank you. I would like to ask a question to Professor Varkhedi. Your topic of cosmic consciousness was very impressive and interesting. But do you happen to think about the difference between consciousness and conscious matter? What is the difference between consciousness itself and conscious
Matter.
matter?
I got it. See, yes, you're right. What is the difference between conscious matter and consciousness itself? The pure consciousness. Definitely, we need to agree that pure consciousness exists as the reality for the adhisthana for the entire universe. The entire universe is created on the consciousness, and this matter also has some sort of consciousness. Therefore, this is different from the pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is called Brahma, Parabrahma, and this is called Kshara Brahma. This is Akshara and Kshara. There is a difference, even in Bhagavad Gita you can see, there are Kshara and Akshara. These two, the notions are introduced, two different concepts. Kshara is Prakriti and Akshara is Aprakritika consciousness. Therefore, one is within the Prakriti and one is beyond Prakriti. This is how we can make difference.
Then can you say that buddhi is buddhi
Yes.
consciousness or conscious matter?
Yes, buddhi is intellect within the matter, and this conscious Atman, the Vijnana of Atman is pure consciousness.
Then how can you say that Prakriti is cosmic consciousness? Is
Yes,
it possible?
because see, there are three words I have used: manaha, buddhi, and ahankara. So definitely, if there is ahankara, then means one should feel I exist, I do this. And Prakriti, even matter has this ahankara. Therefore, I propose that there should be some consciousness.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to ask Professor Arnau how he sees the relation between dhyana in the Buddhist cosmo-theology, no, not cosmo-theology, but let's say cosmo-psychology, that he defined with samadhi, which is the term that is considered to be above dhyana in the yoga tradition.
So, as I see, the Buddhists are concerned with mind to develop a pure mind, the mind of the Buddha. And in Vedanta, they're trying to deactivate the mind, to get rid of the mind. So, to experience pure consciousness. So, in a first movement, you have to distinguish, as the Sankhya tradition does, between mind and consciousness. So you have mind, it would be in the Sankhya structure, would be buddhi, ahankara, and manas. This is mind. It's kind of material, subtle but material. And you have the consciousness which is out of Prakriti, but is interrelated, so implicated with Prakriti all the time. So you have to separate them, and then you have to get rid of the mind. This is in the Vedanta approach. And the Buddhists try to create a purified mind. At the end, I think they are following different paths, but they are going to the same goal, which is this experience of samadhi, or experience of consciousness, of pure consciousness, or experience of a pure mind. That's why I'm very fond of Nagarjuna, who says that nirvana and samsara are the same thing. I don't know if
Thank you very much from the scholars from the audience as well as on the dais. We have listened to 5 distinguished scholars, specialists of their own fields. Cosmology, as studied from the mundane point of view as well as supramundane point of views. From the Sanatan tradition, that is dharmic tradition, as well as dhammic tradition, a Buddhist tradition. They have their own perspectives, number of points similar and number of points dissimilar. That's why there is no stoppage of intellectual journey, and new things and new facts come up time to time. sometimes, as I gathered from one of the questions, the science and spirituality both have their own domains. There may be some points of agreement, but I think that philosophy is the mother of science in all subjects. So we have to have some doctrines, some hypotheses, and facts come out. So far as spirituality is concerned, it is also science, but within. It is more subjective. We try to theorize, we try to write down in words. But words have their own limitations. Particularly those branches of philosophy which originated in Bharat are primarily based on spirituality, on practice, inner practice. And everything cannot be expressed in words. We have to undergo the spiritual practice. As Professor Yuan told about a spiritual-psychological study of meditation from the Buddhist point of view, how Chit and Chetsik, they travel, how the Buddha says, Phandanang chapalang chittang durakhang dunnivaryang. Mind is just like a monkey. It does not stop. And he has said at one place, what is the necessity, why it is necessary to have concentration, have samadhi. Time and again he has said that if a person has thousands of desire, thousands of wandering of his mind, the number of suffering will also be in thousands. If we curtail the movement of mind, if we just limit it to 100, the suffering will also be in 100. If we curtail to 10, suffering will also be 10. If we curtail this movement to 1, suffering will be 1. And if we have no attachment, no desire, no craving, there won't be suffering. So that is the central point of Buddhist thoughts. And whether it is Theravada tradition or Mahayana tradition and different streams of Mahayana traditions, the target is to have concentration, have wisdom. Number of shades are there. So, if we try to compete with each other, thinking that this tradition is antagonistic to me, we cannot reach the aim that we want, that we wish to achieve. That is why, whether it is Sanatan tradition or Buddhist tradition or any other tradition, particularly originated from Bharat land or Oriental, you can say, the prime aim is to get rid of all sufferings and to get clear-cut understanding of the universe, of the Brahma and all that. So, this is a platform of Dharma Dhamma that we have tried to evolve as a meeting point of different views, sometimes appearing as contradictory, but the main, the core aim is to have a mutual understanding, mutual respect. And if we can do that, we are still trying to do that. The aim is very far. But if we strive with pure mind, pure intention, there will certainly come a time when we shall be able to reduce the contradictions and differences existing in the world, in different civilizations and among the people. Let us think positive, let us do positive, and this is the prime aim of our platform. The Buddha, there is a, in Pali, because I am a student of Pali and early Buddhism, there is a sutta, Kasi Bharadwaj Sutta. A farmer named Bharadwaj was plowing his field with 500 bulls. And he was distributing food to his laborers. And Buddha was passing through. He also stood in a queue. And when his turn came, Bharadwaj asked, oh, he used very derogatory term because he was head shaven. Oh, Mundak, I just do this farming. Then I produce my food and then I eat. What do you do? And he said that I also do krishi. I also do agriculture, farming. But my farming is spiritual farming, to purify mind. So the people, all of us hailing from different parts of the world, have the same objective to gather here, to exchange our thoughts with positive mind, with positive intention. And I wish that we could, a time could come when we have respect and understanding for each other, and we could make a better world to live. Thank you so much for participating in the discussions and listening to the great scholars. And I am personally thankful to the organizers. In the beginning, very beginning, I had told you that I was one of the persons to convene this conference, DHARMA DHAMMA conference at Sanchi in 2012. And we are still associated. We cannot go to the field to have plowing the field like that, but we have all farming of mind with the spiritual sense. So with these words, we wish that wherever we go back, wherever we go, we will do the same good things. We shall spread good thoughts, and we shall do our best for making our society, our nation, the whole globe, a better and better one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You have very well summarized all the discussions by the eminent speakers in this panel. So that makes my job easy. But on behalf of the organizers, I would like to offer my heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers and to our chair for your invaluable contributions to this plenary session on cosmology in Dharma and Dhamma traditions. Your insights have definitely enriched our understanding of this intricate relationship between ancient cosmology and contemporary scientific paradigms. Now we would break for tea. Yes, exactly. So we would now break for tea and rejoin at 4:45, 1645 hours for the next session. Thank you so much for your attention. Tea. Thank you.